latest scores in other matches around the country in the Division 1 match between Lancashire and Hampshire. Hampshire are 138 for 8. Kent versus Surrey. Kent 200 for 8. Nottinghamshire versus Warwickshire. Warwickshire 192 for 3. In Division 2, the match between Durham and Glamorgan. Glamorgan are 238 for 3. At Bristol, there's been a delay for rain with Gloucestershire on 45 without loss. And the same goes for Hove, where Sussex are playing Worcestershire. And before the rain, Sussex got 205 for 7. And in the match between Derbyshire and Yorkshire, Derbyshire were 111 all out, and in reply, Yorkshire 153 for 2.
got? We have got 6 minutes. I'm going to run to Luke. Can I?
Is it you and I?
It is.
I was just going to make the same suggestion. So
I'll run quicker.
no, don't worry. But for soon after we start, if I have to have a quick 5-minute break, then I will, because I should have gone, but got corner next door.
Yeah,
You've got yours, haven't you? Yeah, of course you're using a lip mic, yeah. Is this yours or Don's?
Don's.
Oh, so he's grabbed the better place. All right, fair enough. First turn. Not that it's quite so bad at 4 o'clock, but yeah, it's fair enough. Oh, I'll get this bottle of water. Got it. There you go. Is that right? Yeah. Tons in the fridge next door.
All yours, Dick.
Oh, right. Okay, well, I'll think of something else. You know what it's like. Sometimes it...
You've probably got time.
Yeah, go on.
There's no sign of it.
Well,
Yeah, they're nowhere
Fort.
near here, are they? No.
Seriously.
Yeah, fine. Thank you.
Oh, God. I'm tired.
Yeah. You're going to get a day off.
No. Not at all. Seriously, I'm not here for... I might be here day 4 because Victoria's got a problem in the afternoon. But take a picture. Day 1, day 4. I think the outfield will look entirely different. In fact,
Are you in the taking part in the podcast?
I've been invited. They did mention it.
I'll ask you.
I'll be delighted to.
But it was the obvious question.
I was...
I think he did training last week. So how much we were looking forward to.
Listen, when I have a bad day, Anthony, and you know this, when I have a bad day at home, yeah, I go on the Somerset Facebook page, my day's okay.
They are incredibly negative.
Oh, oh,
Absolutely.
I couldn't believe it.
There was a very funny bit on Friday about Will Smead. You know, this Somerset supporter from Taunton saying this Smead is rubbish. We should drop him. You know, dot ball though is rubbish. Next ball 4. Oh, next ball 6. Go on, Will.
Dreadful, isn't it?
Then 2 more dot balls.
The
Oh, it's
umpires
rubbish.
are back on the field, so please clear the outfield. Thank you.
Probably does. I tell you who hits the ball even harder than Will Smead, and that's Cobra Cabinet.
Yeah.
You want to see.
Yep. Reese knows a little bit about him actually. He spent a bit of time with.
They franchise
They have, yeah, and we've been cricket together as well. Yeah, that's right. No, they get on quite well.
It's a nice name.
Yeah. Well, I was talking to you earlier about the chap I mentioned on air, Daisy Adams, who does a bit of coaching for Somerset. He's the Royal Navy coach,
All right.
and he loves, whenever he gets the opportunity, he gets invited to do a little bit of Somerset. He spends a lot of time there. He thoroughly enjoys it. Yeah, he does. Right. Well, welcome back to the Cloud County Ground, Chelmsford. It's day one of the 4-day encounter between Essex and Somerset. Always interesting fixtures. Both, they're very similar counties in many ways. But Essex today, they have won an important toss. They opted to bat. They're 235 for 5. Matt Critchley has made a brisk 35, and with him is, well, the ever dependable knighted he was for his services to cricket, Sir Alistair Cook, who's on 94 not out. Well, he'll be booking in, and I'm sure he won't want to give it away. Once he gets his 100, if he gets his 100, I hear the Somerset supporters say. Well, you're listening to Anthony Gibson, Dick Davis and Don Topley bringing the action on BBC Essex, BBC Radio Somerset, and we welcome you all. And we're still not sure whether the Wi-Fi is working in the county ground. We're not sure. We don't really think it isn't. No, I don't think it is. So at the moment I can't give you scores around the counties, but what I can bring to you is Sir Alistair Cook is taking his guard yet again. And I think it's loosening up is Craig Overton, I think, wearing the number 7 or 8, isn't it? 7, that's Overton. So he'll be roaring in our post-tea session to Alistair Cook with a slip and a gully. Otherwise it's a ring in the field, and this is nicked down, and it's played with soft hands, so it's fallen short of Gully, but Gully parries it and first slips ensures there is no run. 235 for 3, and welcome back, Dick Davies.
Thanks, Don.
You're out of breath.
I am. I've been running. Well, no, not running, walking quickly. Too quickly.
Overton. Right arm over to Cook. Cook squares him up a little bit. He walks his shot. Doesn't take a big enough stride with his first movement, but negotiates a good delivery with good hands. No run. Have you got Wi-Fi?
No.
I'm using the phone's Wi-Fi.
Right. Yeah, just struggling a little bit this afternoon. Maybe it's too hot. Beautiful weather in sunny Essex. Cook back to loft. Overton's in. Plays an immaculate forward defensive, which we've seen a lot of today. Cook on 94. Critchley on 35. 2 different inningses. I was going to look at Alistair's top score this season.
Well, it would have been the 99 he made in the preceding game, wouldn't it?
In the defeat at Edgbaston?
No, he got 99 down here.
Was it?
So I remember seeing it, and I wasn't at Edgbaston.
Overton in. Good ball. Good defensive play from Cook. Every ball's been on the money so far from Overton. Well, he's only bowled the 3 since tea, but it's a good start. What you don't want to be doing as a bowler is clawing the over back. Having gone for a boundary, maybe a 2, haven't got your line or your lengths right. But he's on the money here, is the England seamer. Right arm over the wicket, played into the leg side, and there is another dot ball. Just looking at, if I can, at some of the scores elsewhere. Well, Kent have recovered. I think they've moved to 211 for 8 at tea. Lancashire, Hampshire 142 all out. And Warwickshire Notts at Trent Bridge 221 for 3. Warwickshire, they're going nicely. This is played into the offside. Cook looks for a quick single, but alas was turned down by Matt Critchley. Good over there, maiden over, well bowled indeed. Craig Overton enjoyed that over. It's going to be Josh Davey to commence from the river end in the post-tea session. Sports Extra is back with us, so welcome to you all.
Indeed.
Nottingham, Cook got 99, reliably informed. Nottingham.
It was Nottingham, was it? Right, beg your pardon.
Were you at Nottingham?
I was at Nottingham every day, yes.
You were every day, that's right. Well, it's very unusual to do 4 days on the trot, isn't it, for us?
It is, although I'm doing 4 at Blackpool as well.
Oh, you like Blackpool?
I do. Long time since I've been there, and it wasn't for cricket purposes, it was for pure hedonism, pure unadulterated self-indulgence.
Well, definitely going to be Josh Davey, who has the figures of 8 overs, 1 for 43. Craig Overton's bowled a few more, 14 overs, 5 maidens. We always like it as a bowler to see maidens grow throughout the day. 24 runs for the 1 wicket, so both have got the 1 wicket. Davey got the first wicket and the only wicket of the morning, when really it would have to be said that Nick Brown surrendered, where he drove in the air to mid-off.
Yes, he did. So Davey moves in, bowls right arm over the wicket to Critchley, plays solidly, defensively, correctly, and one of the finest cameo. Well, no, it's more than a cameo, but not really. Doesn't make the headlines. Well, not much in cricket does now, anyway, unless it's international cricket. But he's played a superb innings last Thursday down at Canterbury in the T20 competition when went in to bat with Essex 30 odd for 3 and staring down the proverbial gun even as Davey moves in and bowls. And then he crafted, and I use the word deliberately because he built a superb 60 odd runs.
Fielded at third man. No, it wasn't. Unfortunately, it's gone over the boundary.
For 4 runs. And he crafted this brilliant 60 odd with all genuine cricket shots that would all come out of a coaching manual. Kept his eye on the scoreboard and the rate and just nudged Essex towards their target when many of those more senior and better known players had lost their head when they got out to the middle and played unnecessarily extravagant shots and got out in the process. And Critchley that innings said a lot about Critchley, I think.
A lot of character?
A lot of character. I think when the time comes, I know Wesley is in charge now and probably will remain in charge for quite a while, but I would have thought Critchley must have, assuming he stays at Essex, and hopefully he does, must have his name penciled in as possibly an extra captain of the side. But that's a long way hence. Of course, this is only his 2nd season. Plays that defensively, but he's a good batsman. He's a good bowler. He's a good fielder. He's a highly intelligent and likeable cricketer. He ticks nearly all the boxes.
Well, he certainly would have impressed the Essex membership, and the gentle applause just before that ball was the 51-run partnership between Sir Alistair Cook and Matt Critchley.
Yeah. And Critchley comes down the wicket a couple of paces and then plays it defensively, but just pushes it out into the, just backward of square on the offside, and they go through for a single. And I watch so much cricket nowadays, for the last 20 odd years, that unlike our colleague Paul Newton, I don't remember a lot of matches and certainly not a lot of innings, but just a few. And I think Critchley's 60 odd last week at Canterbury I will remember, because it was just a lesson in how to build an innings and how to go about winning cricket matches. You get the impression sometimes that all these players are taught how to bat and how to bowl, but they're not actually taught how to put these skills together to win cricket matches, which is what it's ultimately all about. It's a results-based game that's pushed out on the offside.
You're listening to BBC Essex, BBC Somerset with Dick Davies, Don Topley and Anthony Gibson, giving you ball-by-ball action here from Chelmsford in Essex. And it's a beautiful day, eh, Dick?
It is certainly easily the best of the season, but then that's not saying a lot. It's been a pretty ropey old season weather-wise.
We've been waiting for this,
We have
in the eastern part of England.
As Davey moves in, bowls to Cook. Cook plays pleasantly, just leaning into it and pushing it to mid-off. The end of the over, and Essex have moved on to 240 for 3. And as I said before lunch, before tea, there can't be any game in the world, I don't think, where the toss has been so important. It's not that important in cricket or rugby, or I mean, not so important in football or rugby or tennis or golf or snooker or anything, but in cricket it can make a world of difference. And I just, it's not rocket science to work out that probably had the coin landed the other way round, then it could easily be the West Countrymen who are in this position at 240 for 3 and Essex chasing leather.
Just going back to a previous era when we had uncovered wickets.
Yes.
Tosses would have been significant back in that day too.
Yeah, indeed.
Overton with a slip in the gully. He comes in from the Hayes close end and there's a play and a miss. They looked quite excited behind the stumps.
They did, didn't they?
But there was no edge. A super delivery from Craig Overton. He's bowled 14 overs, 1 for 24. Henry's bowled well too. 13 overs, 0 for 52. Should have had a wicket. Probably deserved a wicket in the morning's play. Aldridge, 10 overs, 1 for 48. Davey, 9 overs, 1 for 48. Overton bowls. This is actually genuinely wider, which goes wider through to the keeper, the Essex batsman. Critchley not interested. And then the debutant, Bashir, 20 overs, 0 for 63. He's bowled really quite well at times. I would have thought somebody of the ilk of Vic Marks would have been quite impressed.
I would say most of his spell. There was one over that went for 10 when Walter took a 6 and a 4 off him in not exactly consecutive deliveries, but very soon after each other.
Overton goes for an LBW appeal. Got to be honest, the way the shape of Critchley was shaping up to play that, it looked as if it, for me, was going down. And including Nigel Long, the umpire, wasn't so keen either.
I don't think there was much conviction from the bowler either, was there? It wasn't sort of a typical Overton appeal. It was very sort of more of an inquiry.
Overton running down the Hayes close end, which is driven now by Critchley into the offside. He pierces backward point and cover, and he will look for 3. Cook turns, calls his partner back, and they take 3. 3 to Critchley, 3 to Essex, 243 for 3. Just going back into the morning play for those who weren't with us. Brown was the first to go. He was caught at mid-off off the bowling of Davey for 33 in a partnership that was worth 66. Wesley then who was caught behind off the bowling of Craig Overton for 37. Walter was the third man to go, bowled Aldridge for 27. Cook bats and he's hurt. Craig Overton, I don't know if you heard on the effects mite, he cried out loud in pain, and I think Tom Abel was asked the physio to come on. He isn't moving from the floor. He bowled the ball, it was played back by Cook, and on his follow through, he is probably his third step on his follow through, he's just fallen on the floor. Deeply worrying for Somerset, and in particular Craig Overton. The umpires have got together. The players, the fielders are staying away from Craig Overton at the moment. Wow, he just went down. I was watching the ball, watching the batsman, Dick. You don't often watch the bowler in his follow through.
No.
And then you just see him collapse.
Yeah, that's right.
I think it's his ankle.
Just trying to see if the... Oh yeah, we're just seeing it on the replay now. Yeah, he's clutching his left ankle. Yeah, just above the boot.
He's got his boot now off. It's in his left hand. Wow. We hope sincerely it isn't going to be a problem. He isn't putting his boot back on at the moment. He's talking to the umpire to collect cap and sunglasses. Abel is now talking to the umpires, David Milnes and Nigel Long, who are probably suggesting bring someone on. Oh, well, he's walking off, he's limping off. Oh, just my heart goes out to any bowler who gets injured doing his job. And you can hear a heartwarming applause for the big fella. He's a wholehearted cricketer. When you play against both Overtons, you know you're in for a fight, and they give 110% in the field with the bat and especially with the ball. He's walking off head bowed with the physio.
Current over, Casey Aldridge.
Casey Aldridge, if you did hear, is going to complete the over, and it's going to be the one ball that Craig Overton couldn't bowl. Wow, just so sorry, so sorry. Never nice. It's a long old walk as well. We're playing on the other side of the pitch as he makes his way to the little picket fence or the gate to the pavilion and indeed the marquee where Somerset are changing. Oh, best wishes and hope he makes a speedy recovery. That just makes Somerset's job a little more difficult. Casey Aldridge on the way in with a slip and a gully round the wicket to Sir Alistair Cook, and it completes the end of that Overton over. Overton went for the 3, and there was a dot ball, or 3 or 5 balls with a dot ball by Casey Aldridge. And at the end of the completed 67th over, the Essex score is 243 for 3. Alistair Cook on 94, and with him is Matt Critchley on 43.
Yep, and it's going to be Josh Davey to continue from this, the River End. And he'll be bowling to Matt Critchley, who has 43 to his name.
Matt Critchley's 43, Dick, has come off 39. Meanwhile, Alistair Cook, no, this is not offering any criticism, it's just the way these guys bat. Alistair Cook's 94 is off 183 balls.
As Davey moves in, bowls to Critchley. Critchley goes on the back foot and plays it defensively. It trickles back down the wicket. Now, we didn't spot another or a 12th man come on, but presumably he did.
Well, Roland van der Merwe was on earlier today.
So was Ben Green.
Ah.
I think they're sort of taking it in shifts, aren't they? Job sharing.
Roland van der Merwe had a sleeveless sweater on, one of the woolen ones.
As Davey moves in, bowls to Critchley, plays pleasantly through mid-on for 2 probably.
That's Ben Green, I think.
That is Ben Green. Now, didn't he play club cricket in Essex somewhere?
Wow, that's a great stat.
Well, only if it's true. If it's not true, then it's not great at all. I'll look that up next over when you're commentating. I can pester the life out of the internet.
He's got a sort of 1980s moustache, and he's done rather well in the T20 for Somerset this season.
Yes.
Got some wickets.
As that's a pleasant looking shot from Critchley. Flow of the bat. It's only going to pick up a single, but it was a splendid looking flowing drive to the man on the boundary. There was a chap who used to play club cricket at Buckhurst Hill.
Pete Hazagaloo.
Yes. Have you ever seen him bowl?
I have. I have. He's made his name in the Big Bash.
Unique is an overused word in English language, but that man's bowling style is unique.
When he's waiting to bow.
Just before he starts to bowl, he tosses the ball from hand to hand, and he's square on to the batsman rather than side on, and looks as much to say, you know, I'm ready for it, mate, if you are, you know.
He builds himself up, doesn't he?
Yes,
he almost flicks it into from his right hand to his left hand.
Yeah.
Somewhere, somebody counted it. They said he does it sometimes between 14 and 15 times.
As quite remarkable bowling style. And it just played defensively, trickles out in the offside.
You talked about him playing cricket in the Essex League for Buckhurst Hill.
Yes.
I think the previous season he got picked up to play in the 100 from Oval Invincibles.
All right.
But was playing for Burwell in the East Anglian Premier.
Yeah, could well be.
And he was playing there, and that's how he got his gig to
right.
replace somebody at Oval Invincibles.
As Davey moves in right arm round the wicket to Cook. Cook plays pleasantly out to mid-off. Cook still on 94, hasn't added a run since tea.
Hatsagaloo, fantastic name.
It is, isn't it? There's not too many of them.
I think his first name is Peter.
Peter, it is.
But he played for the Melbourne Renegades initially and then went across to the Perth Scorchers. Hasn't got close, I don't think, to any Australian white ball cricket, but I think he had a proper job and left his proper job to try and risk a career in cricket.
Right.
He's done well.
As that's just played out on the offside. Well, from his attitude when he was about to bowl, I'm sure he's the nicest bloke on earth, or one of them, but from his attitude when he's about to bowl, you'd think his other job was as a bouncer on a nightclub. He looked really formidable.
No ball's been signalled by umpire David Milnes.
So it has.
So Josh Davies going to have to repeat that delivery. Josh Davey formerly played a bit for Suffolk in the minor counties, or national counties as it is known today.
As the next delivery comes to Cook, and again Cook plays defensively, and again it trickles out to mid-off. End of the over, and Essex 246 for 3, Cook 94, Critchley 46.
Cook has been on 94 for a little while now, but
well, certainly, yeah. With tea in between, then it's at least 45 minutes.
68 overs gone. Somerset obviously will be missing Craig Overton, but they'll be keen for this new ball. I mean, it still looks pretty placid out there. Looks a wonderful wicket to bat on. It was such a vital toss for Essex at 10:30 this morning. I'm sure both teams would have batted. You want to get your runs in the first innings. You don't want to be relying on second innings runs, because the second innings it could be so much more challenging on this looks a bit dry dry surface here at Chelmsford, and indeed the weather for the next 3 or 4 days is going to be terrific. The outfield will no doubt get parched and get quicker, and the batting surface might be a bit more of a challenge by day 4. Aldridge comes in, bowls, and there's an attacking shot through the offside, but executed as it goes off the inside edge onto pad into the offside, and there is no run.
No, Ben Green, I don't know where I got that idea from, but there's no record of Ben Green having played county cricket in Essex, so club cricket in Essex, so forget that.
Slip in the gully. Aldridge is in. There's a ring on the offside. Tall man, he bowls down the leg side, and well, Critchley misses out. It goes down the leg side, but I do sense the keeper James Rue was sensing that was quite close to the leg stump, despite going down the leg side.
Yes, I think so.
Good crowd in. I'm guessing 2,500. Not 2.5 people, 2,500, possibly a few more. Aldridge on his way in. He bowls. This is forced into the offside. That's going to be 1, 2. Will it go for 4, or did backward point get a hand on it? And it has just gone for 4. And as you can hear at the county ground Chelmsford, There is applause for Matt Critchley, who has scored his 50 today in 45 balls in 47 minutes, 7 fours and the solitary 6. He's become a popular player.
He has.
In the county.
He plays well, and as I say, he's the most charming of men. Always got a word with everybody, a pleasant word, I mean. And yeah, good luck to him.
Slip in the gully, still in place, driven into the leg side. That goes in between mid-wicket and mid-on, and quickly rushes across this fast outfield at Chelmsford, and Critchley picks up a successive boundaries.
Yeah.
Good shot, that.
Yes, yeah, I remember talking to him at press day before the season started. Press day last year, well, I also spoke to him this year, but last year saying he was one of the reasons he wanted to come to Essex was because it had a community feel about him, which is what he was used to at Derby, where the crowd and the players were almost one and the same.
Slightly loose this time. He drives at a ball from Aldridge. Aldridge bowls quite full, but it's cannoned off his inside edge into his pad, back out onto the offside. But he's certainly taken the attack to Somerset here.
Yes, he is.
He's not going to be bowled at. Critchley 54, Cook 94, still on 94, hasn't had much of the strike lately. Aldridge plays a forward defensive, he walks his shot, and that's not being disrespectful. He walks his shot, probably didn't take a big enough stride on that delivery. As he walks his shot, compensates with excellent hands and plays it back up the wicket for a dot ball. End of the over, 256 for 3.
Something I don't think we commented on during the course of that over. In fact, as a result of that first of that 4 was of those 2 4s was that Essex picked up their first point of the match, because it's now 250 this season rather than 200.
Somerset have got the 1.2, haven't they?
Yep, for 3 wickets.
As in 1.2, not 1.2.
Yeah, there's no dot in there. No.
1 point each.
1 point as well, yes. That would avoid the confusion. 1 point as well rather than 1.2. Joys of the English language. The
spinner's going to come on. Bashir. He's bowled some overs today, you know. 20 overs, 0 for 63.
But his first over had no less than Sir Alistair Cook puzzled twice. In fact, I think twice in the first 4 deliveries. So, yeah, he won't forget that start to his professional career.
Well, he still might get Alistair Cook.
Oh, yes, of course he might.
First class wicket. You always remember your first class wicket. Always. Everybody does.
All right, and I won't need to ask the obvious question. I won't need to ask it. You tell us.
Rob Andrew.
Oh, right.
Rob at CR Andrew, England fly half. Not bad as well, eh? He was a bit of a hero for me.
Who was he playing cricket for?
He don't forget, he was an Oxford Blue, but he played rugby for England, but he also played cricket for Cambridge University, who was first class status back then, but also he played for Yorkshire Twos.
And is now chief exec at Sussex.
Yes, yeah. Got him LBW.
Well, where was that?
Cambridge University.
Benners.
Yeah, that's right. But my first proper wicket was, this is going to roll Billy Athy.
Oh, right.
At your place.
Southend.
Southend, yes. Billy Athy, caught at cover. Brian Hardy, he said everyone will look at that and think it was bat pad, but it was caught cover. Billy Athy and Brian Davidson was my second one, proper wicket.
Leicestershire.
Gloucestershire.
Gloucestershire.
Then. Yeah, Billy Athy and Brian Davidson. Bashir. Is this my over or yours, Dick?
Oh, it's mine, I beg your pardon. Yep, Bashir. Bowling from this end. And that delivery was just played backward of square on the offside by Cook, who has yet to add to his 94 at tea time. And again, just played solidly, defensively, respectfully, purposefully. The ball trickles back to young Bashir. And that's also pushed back to Bashir, so he's keeping no less than Alistair Cook very quiet indeed.
Yeah, the Wi-Fi's gone down quite badly around here.
It's up now.
Is it back up?
Yep.
Is it?
And next delivery played again solidly defensively. So no run off this over, and we are 1, 2, 3, 4 balls through it, 2/3. Not Martin Bashir, sorry, that was the he of Princess Diana notoriety. That's played out into the covers.
Actually,
Next delivery, and the over is played out as a maiden. So well bowled, young Mr. Bashir, and the Essex score remains on 256 for 3.
we've had a number of contributions on Twitter. People are loving the little comment that we made reference West Ham earlier, because we've got 1 or 2 people who have joined us at the ground today who have recently flown in from Prague.
All right.
Following the success of West Ham, and they're asking, have I spoken to Jamie Porter yet, because he is a huge West Ham fan, so he will be running down the Hayes Close end with a spring in his step, no doubt, tomorrow.
Indeed. And waving a flag, no doubt, and singing I'm Forever Blowing Bubbles.
Right, looking at this, it's going to be Aldridge again to continue from the Hayes Close end, the end that Jamie Porter enjoys. He's on his way down the slope, bowling to Critchley. Critchley plays off the back foot into the offside, and well fielded by number 14. That is George Bartlett. He looked pretty athletic then as he prevented the single, Critchley's single, 256 for 3. Slip in a gully. Now, Dick, we've seen it a few times this season when Essex have batted long for a day 1, gone into day 2. As Aldridge bowls short, this time Critchley stands high, tall, plays with a straight back into the offside no run. Where Essex have batted the normal way, batted throughout the day, and they've often slowed up a little bit later in the day, which isn't the modern way, it's the Essex way, but sometimes they've been criticised for being a bit slow when they do get a 400, 450. It'll be interesting to see what happens as Aldridge comes in. Short again, played into the offside, there is no run. Again, Bartlett is looking very agile, like a caged tiger at cover, not allowing Essex anything on the offside. Guarding his area very well. It's a hard thing to do when you're in the field for the day in this heat. 256 for 3. This is forced off the back foot, a little bit of width. It's going to go down to third man, where backward point comes and does the fielding. 1 run, left hand, right hand change, so Cook comes on to strike, still on 94.
Yes. Yep, now for about, bearing in mind the tea came in as well, so it's well over 50 minutes now.
Aldridge to the left-handed Cook, slip in the gully as well. Yorked, almost dug out. Alistair Cook very kindly picks the ball up and gives it to Gully. I watched the World Test Championship, a bit of it yesterday. I saw, trying to think who was batting, probably Rohit Sharma.
Yeah.
And the ball ended up at his toes. He looked at it and you thought Labuschagne is going to ask him to pass it to him. He didn't, and I like that. This time a Yorker is dug out against Aldridge, and there is no run. End of the over, 257 for 3. The reason I say that is that Rohit Sharma blocked it, fell by his feet, stood there, and Labuschagne thought he was going to pass it to him. He didn't. He had to go and fetch it, so he did, and they almost sort of looked at each other eyeball to eyeball.
And why did you like that?
Because there's 11 fielders out there. It's their job to go and field. It's not my job as a batsman to pick the ball up for them. Is that mean? I'll let you and Anthony Gibson discuss that, whether you think I'm being mean or is it a professional trait. They're the fielders. They go and pick the ball up.
Well, to my mind, it's just common courtesy, nothing more, nothing less. You can, put any other slant on it you like, but that would be mine. And so it's going to be Bashir to continue from this end. This the river end, the river Can, not the river Chelmer. The river Can runs into the Chelmer, but it's actually the Can, C-A-N, and it's Bashir to continue. He's done an excellent job so far. Can't speak highly enough of him. He deserves a wicket. He's done all but. And he bowls right arm round the wicket, and just played defensively, pushed out onto mid-on by Critchley. And welcome Anthony back on board, and gives this a little bit more air. And well, we've all been singing his praises, but he really does. I mean, we've all watched enough cricket to know a player who looks useful, but somebody who sort of actually does stand out as being a cut above the rest. And I'd be surprised, personally, if young Bashir didn't have a really good future in this game.
I'm with you, Dick, on the question of whether it's courteous for the batsman to pick the ball up.
Of course it is. It's a typical ex-player's view, isn't it?
Well, just being odd, isn't it?
We'd expect nothing else, really. As Bashir moves in and bowls.
It's the sort of thing you see in club cricket these days, mind you. I don't know what it's like in Essex, but some of the behaviour in club cricket in Somerset is appalling.
It's appalling, it is. Absolutely. The trouble is, some of this stems from the top down, and when they see something like that on their televisions yesterday, that will very soon filter down to club cricket, and it begins to lose a lot of what it was designed for. That's just played out in the offside, no addition to the score. Still, Cook hasn't added to his tea time score of 64. And he still hasn't, as he plays that out pleasantly to mid-off. Feature, people all over the world have watched Alistair Cook play like this. Nothing's going to upset his rhythm. He plays every ball at its value, face value, and just gets on with the job in hand. The ultimate professional, much like his mentor and guru Graham Gooch, who also came back and played for Essex, because they love the game, and they tried just as hard on a miserable Thursday afternoon in September against one man and a dog watching as Gooch were playing, getting 100 in a packed house in a test match at Lord's. They're just the ultimate.
Now I've found out a bit more about Shoaib Bashir
that goes from
and the Berkshire connection, where he was first spotted by Somerset playing for Berkshire when he took wickets. Mike Unwin from the Somerset Cricket Museum, and I will reveal all after this delivery from Casey Aldridge to Matt Critchley, who drives, and it's not fielded at mid-off by Matt Henry, and it goes for 4 and takes Critchley on to 60 and the score on to 262. Yeah, Mike says Somerset have a long relationship with Berkshire, especially Kidmore End. That's the club where the Pallaret brothers played, and where many Somerset testimonial games have been played, notably Brian Rose and others. The Pallaret brothers, LCH and RCN Pallaret. Lionel Pallaret played for England in 1902. As Aldridge is in and bowls, and this is swung away through mid-wicket by Critchley. That was short from Aldridge and sat up and just smashed away through mid-wicket with the minimum of ceremony by Matt Critchley. Yes, Lionel Pallaret. I have his bat back at home, Lionel Pallaret, and which is due to be presented to the Somerset Cricket Museum next time I'm in Taunton. Dated 1902, which was the year that he played test matches for England. As this is pushed into the offside by Critchley, including the 5th test at the Oval, which was Jessop's match, and Jessop scored 100 off not very many balls to win the match for England, even though the series, one of the most famous Ashes series of all time, 1902, was already lost, but that was considerable consolation. Aldridge is in and bowls to Critchley, who again pulls this through mid-wicket dismissively.
It was.
3 fours in the over, and Aldridge kicks angrily at the footholds, but he's got no one to blame but himself. And the quality of the Somerset change bowlers a cause for considerable concern. Josh Davey has gone for 53 runs in 10 overs. Casey Aldridge is in his 13th, and he's gone for 69 so far. This is driven back past him, but it'll be fielded by Matt Henry. 65, I beg his pardon. But it's not been good from the Somerset backup bowlers, if you like, and the absence of Craig Overton pointing up the weakness in Somerset's bowling attack even more sharply, as Aldridge bowls to Critchley, who gets a good ball which he plays firmly back up the pitch. It's the end of the over. It's 262 for 3, 94 to Alistair Cook, and 60 from just 56 deliveries from to Matt Critchley, and I think I may have got those figures right in the first place. Yeah, 1 for 69 in 13 overs. Casey Aldridge, Josh Davey 1 for 53. So between them, they've gone for 122 in 23 overs, and admittedly they've picked up a wicket apiece. And the Casey Aldridge wicket, entirely to the bowler's credit, good piece of bowling, trimming Paul Walters' bails, and the Josh Davey wicket a bit of a bonus.
Yes. So it's going to be Bashir to continue from the river end to bowl his 23rd over. Gone for 64 so far. Fewer than 3 an over, which is good for a slow bowler. Moves in now, bowls. And Cook has picked up a run since tea time. His first run in just over the hour. But as I say, you have to add tea into that. And indeed he picks up a single down to backward square leg.
And thanks to Will M808, who says, great commentary and fantastic to see Cook rolling back the years.
Yes, indeed. That's played out by Critchley into mid, no, short extra cover.
More wonderful if you're an Essex supporter than if you're a Somerset supporter. I've seen quite enough of Alistair Cook over the last few years. Thank you very much.
Yes. And that's just played solidly.
That heartbreaking 172 he got in the Bob Willis final.
Yes.
Comes immediately to mind. Not to mention the 50-odd not out that he made in the second innings, the end of the 2019 season when Somerset were trying to win the championship.
That's just worked away on the onside, no addition to the score.
And as in 2020, the draw was good enough for Essex to win the championship.
It was the whole thing.
Bob Willis.
I must admit, I've said it many a times, I thought that was a very hollow so-called victory. As soon as
the Bob Willis?
Yes.
Yeah, it was daft, wasn't it?
As soon as the powers that be said in the event of a draw, then first innings lead will count, you knew darn well what was going to happen. Obviously the team said otherwise. No, we're out to win this game. But they can't say anything else. And I'm sure
it was a shame. It should have been shared.
It should indeed. I agree 100%. It should have been shared. And no, very hollow victory.
As the World Test Championship would have been had that been a draw.
Oh, yes. That's just pushed away on the onside. No addition to the score of 272 for 3. No, and well, you were there all however many days it lasted. Five days. And luckily, we. I think we all did a day each because just about everybody had a day, and I remember at the end of each day, because there was no crowd and no atmosphere, nothing. you know, I don't envy you being there for all 5 because
So
I know I was grateful
It was
when
so cold as well.
Yes, indeed. I remember when I was quite grateful when my one day was over, and all my 4 colleagues said the same thing. No,
Because we had to have we were in a hospitality suite in the tavern
That's
stand,
right.
and we had to have the doors wide
Yes.
open. The wind was from the northeast, and it was blowing straight
Oh, it
into
was.
our commentary.
and you know, people who
Position.
weren't there would have often said to me, you know, how can you not enjoy a Lord's final, especially when Essex win?
Dreadful
And I'll
pitch as
tell
well,
you,
it was
well,
turgid.
I'll tell you how you can not enjoy an Lord's final even when Essex win, and.
And Lords couldn't care less. I mean, I think it was the Saturday morning. The scoreboards didn't work for 2 hours. You know, and nobody bothered to get them working or anything. So we had to keep track of the score on
Oh.
laptop computers. And goodness knows what else.
I think I did the.
I think our line has dropped. So.
Oh, has it?
Yeah. So can you
Oh,
redial?
yes, of course. I wonder why that is and how long ago. Right, 01386 429905 429905. Well, it's not even buzzing. Let's try again.
Have you got the number?
Yeah. Oh, I think I pressed that twice. Pressed it twice. At least we're getting the buzzing.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're in business.
Well, apologies for that. I think our line just dropped out for a moment. You haven't missed much. It's 272 for 3. Alistair Cook still on 95 as Josh David bowls to him, and that's going to be no. In fact, that is it's gone for 4 runs, and that is not Alistair Cook's 100. It's his 99.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
We think we're back.
Yeah, we have a red light and a green light, and when the sun's.
You better take this delivery, Dick,
Oh yes,
because he's
right.
on 99.
Yeah, Cook's pacing on 99,
Yeah.
and equaling his highest score of the season so far, and plays that back to the bowler. Thanks, Anthony. Yes, I was just saying we have 2 lights, a red one and a green one, both of which are meant to be on, but when the sun is shining brightly on them, it's difficult to tell whether they're on or not, so we're using Don's cowboy hat as a sort of a shield from the sun to see, and it does look as if they're on. I'm sure the studio will let us know if they're not. They're on, aren't they? Yeah. So Davey to continue from the Hayes close end, moves in, bowls to Sir Alistair Cook on 99. Oh, and Cook is tempted outside the off stump as he was at Trent Bridge and got out for 99. Very, very similar way. I can remember there. Such is the integrity of the man that he played that sort of shot, got the thinnest of edges, but nonetheless, although he was on 99, he knew he was out. He didn't wait for the umpire's decision. He just straight away tucked his bat under his arm and walked off towards the pavilion to save the umpire the embarrassment of having to make what would have been a difficult decision as Davey moves in and bowls to him. Plays that solidly, trickles out on the offside, no addition to the score of 277 for 3. So these two have put on 188, the wicket fell at, so they put on 89. And Davey moves in again and bowls. And a play and a miss. And it's the end of the over. I think it's also the end of my stint. Yeah, I think that's the end of my stint, I believe. Yeah, I've been on for half an hour.
No, it's not. I don't think it's the end of your stint.
No, it's not, is it? I beg your pardon. I'm on for an hour.
You have to go on to.
I'm on for an hour. Yes, I'm sorry. It's wishful thinking.
I'm still not getting anything on the.
It's the heat that is getting to me.
The lights are on, but I'm not sure we're connected.
No, I was just going.
Listen on the BBC website, see if we're coming through.
Or phone the studio, could you, Don? Yeah. And that's worked away on the on-side, just to check that we are on air. Usually my wife serves as quality control, but I know she's busy gardening, but she could do that with the... Oh, now, having said that, you've dropped out, she said, at 4:49, which is about now. So perhaps we haven't come back online.
No, we're not on.
We're not on. We'll try again.
Try redialing.
Have you got the number, Dick?
Yes, I have still got it. Same as you asked me 5 minutes ago. I'll get Anthony to dial. I'll read it out because maybe that's where I'm going wrong. 01386 42 99 05.
We got a red. And we got a green. So, well, I hope you're back with us, but apologies for trouble with the lines. Maybe something to do with the heat.
Can you make sure that we're going out, please? Because the line keeps
Bashir to Cook,
yes, right.
And Dick Davis will take up the commentary, as fortunately Alistair Cook's still on 99.
Yes, Bashir to Cook on 99. Moves in now from the river end. Bowls to Cook. Cook just leans into that. And no more addition to the score.
There's nothing coming through on the
we don't know. We think
nothing
it's
coming through on the
our feed.
website.
We think we're going out.
Well,
and we just need confirmation, please.
Yes, thinking is not.
Right. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Right, so we'll keep talking just for the benefit of those in the studio who can hear us and let us know whether we're going out on air or not. So until Alice, well, you might not, of course, but until Alistair Cook either gets his 100 or is out, then Anthony will commentate when the delivery is towards Critchley, and I will too.
Absolutely.
It's a tradition. It's because our respective radio stations like to clip these magic moments, as Perry Como once said.
Here comes Josh Davey then to Critchley, who's on 71 from just 68 deliveries. He's playing this into the onside, and Tom Abel's quickly to his left, making the stop, just parrying the ball back towards the stumps at the non-striker's end, but dissuading the batsman from risking a single. 278 for 3, Critchley on 71, Cook on 17. It's hot, sweaty work out there for Somerset bowlers and fielders, and I wouldn't say they're wilting, but they're not looking at their sharpest at the moment.
Well,
but the good news is that Craig Overton is back out there. As Davey is in and bowls, and Critchley gets one that bounces a little bit on him, and he plays it well down out into the offside to Ben Green, who's on as a substitute, not for Craig Overton, who seemed to turn his left ankle.
Yes.
In his delivery stride, but he also is suffering from tendonitis in his left knee. So whether that had anything to do with it, I don't know. But he is out there. But you couldn't say that he was 100% fit. He's probably 95% fit, something like that. As Davey is in and bowls to Critchley, and Overton skips to his right to do the fielding. Somerset could ill afford to have Craig Overton sidelined to leave the new ball attack resting on the shoulders of Matt Henry, and either Josh Davey or Casey Aldridge. Josh Davey isn't looking the bowler that he was this season. He's in now to Critchley is their bowls. Critchley takes a pace down the pitch and turns that down. May have been off his pad down to long leg. Let's see what Nigel Long signals. No, he doesn't signal a leg by, so there must have been a little bit of bat involved. Fielded by Shoaib Bashir. Another run on the board. 279. 4-3. One batting point so far to Essex with power to add. One bowling point for Somerset, and they're going to have to work very, very hard to pick up the 2 more that they need to keep up their record of maximum bowling points in every innings.
As Davey moves in and bowls to Sir Alistair Cook. Alistair Cook has nudged out down the leg side to the leg side boundary at fine leg, and 4 is signalled, and Sir Alistair Cook scores his 74th first-class century. The crowd rise. It's come off 210 deliveries and included 15 fours, and unsurprisingly no sixes. It's not Sir Alistair Cook's style. So it's been a masterclass and a typical innings from Sir Alistair Cook. Just diligent, painstaking and highly effective.
He was missed once though by Josh Davies at square leg.
He was indeed.
So he's made the most. He's ridden his luck.
Oh yes, which is what you have to do in the harsh world of professional cricket, isn't it? I'll finish the over then now. Normality is returning, and that is the end of the over, which is just played out on the leg side. All good, we're told. Thank you. Right, dear listeners, I'm sorry if you... yeah, we have just come back on air, but it's confirmed by our expert of quality control, who is my wife. It seems as if we may have been off for about 6 minutes, 4:49 to 4:55.
Yeah, apologies for that. It's
yeah. Well,
initially the problem was at our end, and because the line dropped out, and then we weren't quite sure what happened. But anyway, glad
well, we hope we were back just in time for you to hear of Sir Alistair Cook's 74th first-class century.
Generously applauded by the Somerset fielders as well.
Oh yes. I think there are quite a few players around the county on the circuit who just command the respect of everybody. Cook's obviously one of them, but nearly every team has 1 or 2 of these that I know there's just something about them that maybe they've been around for a long time, stayed loyal to their county, and all genuine cricket supporters just admire them and respect them. Doesn't mean you don't want to get them out or hit their bowling, but you still have the utmost respect for them. It's that sort of game, is cricket. Long may it continue. As I think I was sort of... I may as well. What was it? I've started, so I'll finish, as Magnus Magnusson used to say. As Bashir moves in again. The first one was just round the corner, straight to a fielder by Critchley. That one's played into the onside as well, also for Critchley. Yes, it may well be the heat getting to our equipment, which is a little bit sensitive, but if we're going to have a long, hot summer, then we better try and do something about it from a longer term point of view. Don's cowboy hat won't always be here to try and keep it in the shade. I have a cowboy hat somewhere at home. Relic from my...
Isn't it an Australian digger hat?
Oh, is that what it is? Ah.
It is.
Oh, very good. And that's reverse swept, or reversely swept, I suppose is the adverb. Reversely swept down to... I never know what to describe the position as. I mean, at the time of his stance, it's reversely swept down to third man, but from the execution, it's down to fine leg. Anybody who follows cricket for a little bit knows exactly what I mean and what the conundrum is.
It's very confusing, though, isn't it?
It is really, yes. So yes, it's an Australian hat that's keeping us going rather than a 10-gallon hat. That's just played out the onside. I have a genuine 10-gallon hat at home, somewhere up the loft, a relic from when I lived and worked in Dallas for a short time in what could laughably be called a career. There's an next delivery. String of jobs rather than a career. That's just worked away out into mid-wicket area.
Sean
And
Dixon out there.
they go through for 2 comfortable runs. Critchley's batting really very well indeed. That now brings him on to the partnership of 100.
Century partnership.
That brings up the added applause, and Critchley's got 70. They've taken it off the screen now. I think it's 76 of them. Yeah, 78 of them.
Yeah, these two came together when Paul Walter was out, when the score was 188 in the 57th over. We're now in the, well, that was the 76th, so 23 overs.
So that partnership's put on 101, and Critchley's on 78, and it was he that came in at the pull the last wicket. Well, you can do the arithmetic yourself. So he scored, might be 1 or 2 extras in there, but basically he scored about at least 75% of the runs.
Yeah, 21 overs they've batted together, these two, so good rate of progress, going along at 5 runs and over, which is exactly what Don Topley was saying that Essex ought to be doing in order to maximise their haul of batting points and move the game on, because the faster they score their runs, the quicker they'll be in a position to declare and get Somerset in.
Yeah, 77, so there's 33 more before in which they can get bonus points.
Here comes Josh Davey into bowl to the Centurion, Alistair Cook. Tractor away in the Taco Bell stand, giving his encouragement to Josh Davey.
See the fellow in the red shirt?
He's got a white sun hat on, sitting at the back of the Taco Bell stand towards the right-hand side of it.
Yep. I think I can see him.
That's it. There he is. Somerset's most loyal and prominent supporter, his Tractor. Here's Davey into Cook, and this is down the leg side. Poor ball from Davey, and he gets away with it. As Cook swishes at it, doesn't get a nick. Had he done so, it would have run away down. Well, actually, Sean Dixon is quite fine at long leg, just down below us, between the press box stand and the Tom Pearce stand, the TN Pearce stand, just to our right. No relation to the hero of Widdicombe Fair.
No, I think not.
But he did for years and years and years field sides in the
Scarborough
Festival.
Yes.
Davies in and bowls, and Alistair Cook just hurried into a defensive shot by a good ball from Josh Davey that ducks back into the left-hander.
Former captain of the club, former president, I think.
Was he president of the MCC as well?
I think so, yeah.
A pillar of the cricketing establishment.
Yes.
For many years.
Current president is the great Keith Fletcher.
Yeah. Is Josh Davey in and bowls to Cook, who gets one again. It doesn't bounce perhaps quite as much as some others, but plays it comfortably enough. He's well played in now, is Alistair Cook. He's faced how many? 214 deliveries. So he's going along at just under a rate of 50 runs per 100 balls, which is, I should imagine, pretty close to his career scoring rate. We've got Craig Overton at a very straight short mid-on. Cook's on the back foot, and it's not Craig Overton at short straight mid-on, because Craig Overton has just fielded that. Must therefore be Casey Aldridge, who is equally tall but not quite so strongly built. There's no run. 289 for 3, and these Somerset bowlers and fielders are going to be tired at the end of the day. I think Shoaib Bashir has got to be my interviewee. We can ask him about how he comes to be playing for Somerset and how much he enjoyed his first day in first-class cricket as Davies in and bowls, and this is turn to Tom Abel at short mid-wicket. There won't be a run to the end of that over from Josh Davey, who has figures of 1 for 63 in 13 overs, and that was a maiden over. So that's much better from Josh Davey. 79 overs have been bowled, which means that there's just one more, and then we get a new ball, which hopefully Craig Overton will be fit enough to take alongside Matt Henry.
Yes. Yes, I don't think has Matt Henry bowled since lunch. I suppose he did, but not a lot, as Paul Daniels used to say. So it's still going to be Bashir to continue. Unsurprisingly, really, because he's bowled very well indeed. We can't overemphasise this, really. What a good find it would appear that Somerset have. And right arm round the wicket he'll be bowling, although Critchley's right-handed. And he moves in now and bowls. Critchley plays pleasantly but non-productively, just puts a big left boot forward and leans into the shot and plays it out onto the onside. No addition to the score of 289 for 3. But now there is just a run nudged to deepish square leg.
The commentary on the live stream was okay, uninterrupted. So they much enjoy, the listeners on the live stream, hearing you struggling to connect.
Ah, yes. Well, they now also all know the number that we dial, I think. Oh no, we did dial out at one stage. Yes.
But I'm glad to be able to say that there was no bad language.
No.
Which I think showed great restraint on your part, especially.
I don't know any bad language, that's the reason. If you believe that. Then.
Yes, it did occur to me that we might still be going out on the live stream, even the BBC Sports website listeners couldn't hear us. Anyway, we're back now through both media.
And we have no fear of what people are going to say, other than they do normally. That is not out. It was well held at first slip.
Craig Overton.
By Craig Overton, and it hit a bit of everything. Well, I don't know, maybe not a bit of everything. We'll see the replay. And
it hit a bit of everything, it'd be out. But
that'll either be conclusive or inconclusive. As Bashir moves in and bowls to Critchley. Critchley plays solidly forward. No addition to the score.
Live stream pictures have frozen, unfortunately, so we haven't seen a replay of that. It struck me that it probably bounced too much for the LBW, and that there was no inside edge to justify the Overton appeal.
Bashir in again, and it's played back from square on the onside, the end of the over. And Essex are 291 for 3.
And the new ball is due. And Matt Henry takes off his cap, gives it to umpire Long, and umpire Long raises the ball to signal to the scorers that the new ball is being taken with no delay, and that's absolutely no surprise. Somerset desperately need to pick up a couple of wickets with this second new ball.
I'm also always interested, because I played club cricket myself for 40 years, I'm always interested to see what clubs these players have played for. And Bashir played for Guildford in 2019, and this season he's already played for Taunton Dean. Yeah. In the
Jack Leach's club.
Right.
Returning to bowl from the Hayes close end, Matt Henry, and he has the new ball.
So what's the main Somerset Club Cricket League?
West of England Premier.
West of England Premier, yeah. Thank you.
Here we got Matt Henry from the Hayes close end. He's bowling to the left-handed Alistair Cook. He's there and bowls, and Cook nearly inside edges it onto his leg stump. He'll pick up a single as Sean Dixon does the fielding down below us, but so very nearly the breakthrough that Somerset so desperately want. It couldn't have missed the leg stump by more than a couple of inches.
No.
I see here Tractor saying, "Oh, bold Henners, go on Henners." That's Matt Henry. That's the name by which he is known in the dressing room, Henners. Here he comes to Critchley. He's there and bowls and just takes Critchley on the pad, I think, and they go through for a leg bye signalled by Nigel Long, and that is only the 6th leg bye of the innings. We've had no byes, no wides, and just 3 no balls. So commendable discipline. Tractor keeping up a running commentary from the Hayes Close end as Henry's into Cook, who works this away to deep backward point where Shoaib Bashir fields. 294 for 3. Cook on to 106. And Essex on the verge of a second batting point and plenty of overs in hand in which to accumulate a 3rd and a 4th as Henry's in and bowls. This is turned away down to fine leg for 4 runs. Loose delivery from Matt Henry and just helped on its way by Matt Critchley, who moves on to 83 from just 85 deliveries. He's provided just the acceleration that Essex would have been looking for.
Yes, he has, yes. So Alistair Cook playing, as you would expect, his normal way of playing, and so, yes, it's always good to have somebody accelerating a little bit at the other end, otherwise the game just dies completely.
Henry bowls. This is played into the onside by Critchley. Didn't time it on this occasion, so it's just a single as Kola Cadmore moves from mid-on to his right to do the fielding. Critchley on to 84. 299 for 3 on this hot day at Chelmsford. Vapour trails in the skies over the Cloud FM County Ground, as it's called these days. In fact, it's not called the Cloud FM, it's called the Cloud County Ground. Apologies to the sponsors. That's defensive shot out into the offside from Alistair Cook. That's the end of not a particularly threatening over. The nearest that Matt Henry got to removing the very adhesive Alistair Cook was finding his inside edge, but the ball, sadly, from a Somerset point of view, just evading the leg stump. 298 for 3. 299, I beg your pardon, for 3.
So we are going to see Overton come back into the attack. We wish him well. I hope that his left ankle is fully recovered. It certainly it's remarkable recovery, considering he looked to be in considerable stress when he went off, or well, not so much then, but when he fell over. But then,
I've had a question from Andy Cleve on Twitter. Anyone knows Sir Alistair Cook's first class average against Somerset? Well, before this game, it was 53.4. He'd scored 1,015 runs in 12 games. His highest score, that 172 in the Bob Willis final. So he's improved on that average of over 50 here today.
bit of a query about the dimensions of the ball, which is now being put through the ringer, literally.
This is his third 100, third century against Somerset, and to go with 9 50s. So considering the amount of test cricket that he has played, which meant that he hasn't been playing as much for Essex as would normally be the case, it's a pretty impressive record against Somerset.
Yes, it is. And the umpire can clearly find no reason to change the ball. And well, no, it couldn't be to change it. It's a new ball. What was he doing to it?
It's a little bit of seam had come
Yeah,
loose.
a bit of string or whatever they tied up with, twine. Umpires have to carry so many things with them, including a pair of scissors. As Overton moves in, bowls. and that's just played out on the onside. And I don't know if it's my imagination, and you obviously see Craig Overton bowled many more times than I do, but does he seem to be sort of a little bit running in and bowling just a little bit more gingerly than he otherwise would, as if he were testing it?
I thought he looked pretty good first thing this morning. He's just favouring his left foot slightly, I'd say, at the moment.
He moves in again and bowls, and a good flowing shot from Critchley, but only goes straight to the man at mid-off, no addition to the score.
It is inhibiting if you're a fast bowler and you've got something wrong with your left leg, because it's the left leg that takes all the pressure when it comes crashing down in the crease as the arm swings over. So any little bit of uncertainty over that and makes life very difficult.
That's next delivery, played out on the onside.
He doesn't look comfortable, Craig Overton.
No, he doesn't, does he? Really looks as if he doesn't. Sorry, he's not bowling with confidence. I don't mean confidence in his ability, but confidence in his leg, really. Yeah. And who can blame him? Good Lord.
Well, he's not been fully fit all season with this tendinitis. He's carrying, in the absence of Lewis Gregory, he's carrying a heavy load here today.
He moves in now, bowls, and that's just met with an obdurate and obstinate bat by Matt Critchley, who is, with almost every game he plays, proving what a good signing he was from Derbyshire. We thought generally it was a good signing, and many totally impartial observers made the comment at the beginning of last season that could prove to be the signing of the year. Well, it's certainly proving highly effective, and as the next delivery comes in, and that's just played solidly.
You can tell he's not himself by how far he is following through, or rather by how far he's not following through. He's normally almost up to the batsman in his follow through when he's really fit and firing. He's pulling up now, 10 yards up the pitch, if that, probably 7 or 8.
Overton from the river end again moves in, bowls, and yes, hardly follows through at all, really, as Anthony observed. End of the over, and Essex still on 299 for 3, 1 run short of a second bonus point.
Nicky on Twitter suggesting that Alistair Cook's average against Somerset might possibly be 1043.28. Not quite as bad as that, Nicky, but it is well over 50 per innings in however many matches it was that I said that he's played against Somerset. 12. Well, this is his 13th, so 3 centuries in 13 games plus 9 50s is not bad going.
No.
Here comes Matt Henry coming around the wicket to the Knight of the Realm, who drives him away through the offside. As easy as you like for 4 runs. Over pitch from Henry, and Cook just eased into the off drive, timed it perfectly. And that is the 300 up for Essex. 303 for 3. It's their second batting point. And they have got another 28 overs, less 1 ball, to add further batting points. Henry is in and bowls, and this is turned into the leg side by Alistair Cook to Casey Aldridge. And it's already looking to me, Dick, as if Somerset, the most they can hope for from this game is a draw with a few bonus points.
Yes.
Hard to see them bowling Essex out on the basis of what's happened so far today. Henry in and bowls, and this is tucked away down to long leg. Sean Dixon is moving to his right below us to do the fielding. So it'll just be the 2 runs, 305 for 3, Cook on to 112. Of course, that might all change if Somerset were to pick up 3 quick wickets with a new ball. But
well, exactly.
In all honesty, they don't look much like picking up 3 quick wickets. Not unless the batsmen make mistakes. Very little in this pitch for the bowlers. Henry's in and bowls, and this is edged to the right of Craig Overton, who does his best to make the stop but can't get anything on it, and it's run away down to the third man boundary for 4 more runs. Somerset haven't had the best of luck. They haven't had the rub of the green. Inside edges have just missed the stumps. There was that drop catch that was their own fault. Josh Davey, that was the voluble appeal for a catch behind of Paul Walter. Cook just gets a little bit tucked up by that delivery from Matt Henry, which again looks as if it just came back into the left-hander. He turns it into the onside. Tom Abel clapping his hands at slip to encourage his bowler. But Somerset will not be sorry when 6 o'clock comes around.
No, I was just...
Here's Henry in and bowls to Cook, taking on the pad, and it had the look of a good shout, that one, as Alistair Cook played across the line. I assume it was going down, judging by the way he played it, because I'm not sure that's the sort of shot he would play that if he felt that his stumps were in danger. But
no,
you can't see
so.
The replay, as the live stream is frozen temporarily. So the score remains on 309 for 316 to Alistair Cook and 84 to Matt Critchley.
Yes, I've said many a time over the years, there's no game quite like cricket where you can, the body language says everything, and totally unsurprisingly, this is in no way a criticism, because we've all been there, but you can see that the Somerset fielders, as Anthony said, at the moment they just keep looking up at the overs and looking up at the clock and thinking, I'm just longing to get in that shower and then go out and have a decent meal and maybe a beer or two to wash it down with, whatever they do nowadays.
Oh, that reminds me, I've had a good cider tweet, which I'll come to when it's my over.
And as I say, it's totally understandable, but yeah, you can always read the body language. And yet, similarly, when we've been under these circumstances, and as Overton moves in, that's outside the off stump, and then suddenly 2 or 3 wickets fall quickly, and palpably you can see suddenly the fielders are on the qui vive again and up for it. But they're still professional players, so I mean,
I think Somerset have stuck to it.
I think they've stuck to it remarkably well, considering the weather, considering everything. Yeah, they've toiled valiantly and picked up 3 wickets in 83 overs. And I can't emphasise too much, it could so easily have been Essex in that position, fielding, chasing leather, if the coin had fallen the other way. So that's played solidly defensively.
It's what Dave Nosworthy, the not of blessed memory, who was Somerset's director of cricket after Brian Rosey said, tough day at the office. Tough day at the office. It was a real cliche. Somerset had quite a lot of tough days at the office under his cricket directorship.
Yeah. Well, it's been a tough day, or it's been a tough day in the office for all of us, and I've outstayed my welcome by quite a distance, so I shall make way at the end of this over. That's played out. Oh,
dear.
Why can't you run out of petrol or something? And,
it's the Chelmsford chapter of the Hells Angels, I tell you, they're having a day out.
Do they actually think they impress anybody?
Well, they're all about 65 years old as well.
Oh, are they?
Yeah, these days.
When they say the only difference between men and boys is the size and shape of their toys. As Overton moves in and bowls. And that's pulled away by Critchley over the top of the infield, and I've lost sight of it, but I'm pretty sure it's gone over the boundary.
It has.
Will go over the boundary. 4 runs.
Yeah.
And Critchley moves into 88. So, well, won't even think about what, but yes, the form he's been showing today, there's no reason to think he won't get at least another 12. But pressure of the scoreboard can play funny tricks. As Overton moves in and bowls to Critchley, who plays solidly. out on the onside, picks up 1 run, and will keep the bowling because it's the last ball of the over. And after a few more words from Anthony, he'll be joined by John Topley.
Thanks, Dick. Yes, it's been hard going for Somerset today. The crucial moment of the day was when Tom Abel called wrong at the toss, and it always looked as if this was going to be a long, hot day in the field, and so it has proved. And Somerset really felt the absence of Lewis Gregory, their leading wicket taker, and Peter Siddle. Here comes Matt Henry, and this is driven, and Henry takes a lot of the way off that. If he hadn't got a hand down to that, that would have run away for 4 runs. And the other reason, possible reason for Lewis Gregory is that he and his wife, partner, are expecting their first any day.
Wow.
First child. So I think that may be something to do with it as well.
Nervous times for them.
Yeah. It's Matt Henry, and that's punched away through the onside for 4 runs by Critchley to move on to 93.
Well, he's been impressive, Matt Critchley. Gosh, 93 and 99 balls so far.
Yeah, he's played really well.
He's nearly caught Sir Alistair up, really. Getting close.
Here comes Matt Henry in again, and his fellow Matt goes for a drive, comes off the pad. I mentioned cider. Adam Thomas, King of Somerset, says, another Somerset cider road trip today. First up was Hex Cider in Street, where the Slap McGirdle is superb. On to Beer Cider at Beer Alla, where the legend Jim Lockyer served up some lovely chat and cider. And finally to Parson's Choice at Westling for a long overdue visit. Great road trip. This is pushed into the offside, and a very good stop by George Bartlett.
Brilliant bit of fielding.
In the covers, yeah. 3 excellent cider makers there.
So this chap just went off on a pub crawl for 3 ciders.
Yeah, well, it's about Street to Alla to Parsons Street, probably about 15 miles at least between the...
15?
Yeah. So I suspect he was on a bicycle, because you certainly wouldn't be in a car as that's played into the... well, not if you were driving it, anyway. But, yeah, Jim's Cider Shack. If you're ever in Somerset,
yes,
Don, make a point of visiting Jim's Cider Shack. It's
at
Beer, B-E-R-E, which is not far from Alla, which in turn is not far from Langport. It's Essence of Somerset. Cider
Langport?
Yeah.
Oh, I know that because it's near North Curry where I stay.
Yeah. This is play and a miss from Critchley to a ball outside his off stump from Matt Henry. It's the end of the over. It's not very far from North Curry. It's about 5 miles from North Curry, something like that. And it is not to be missed.
I did, when I was younger, drink quite a little bit of cider, but I have to say, as I got a bit older, it was too much sugar for me, and of course...
This sort of cider we're talking about now is proper cider. This is not your sweet, fizzy commercial.
The diabetic cider.
Well, cider, if you make it, it ferments out to completely dry if you just leave it, because all of the sugar is fermented. It's turned into alcohol. And so the most natural ciders are completely dry, and they're sweetened by people putting sugar in them.
Overton from our end, the river end. This is going to go for 4. Very fine to fine leg, and it's 4 runs. Was slightly blinded by Sir Alistair Cook there as he's tickled it round the corner. We weren't sure if it was fine leg buys or indeed a fine edge on the leg side, but either way, it's 4 runs to Essex and Cook as he moves to 120, and the score 322 for 3. Critchley's knock has actually been quite important here, while Alistair Cook has just carried on. Great delivery from Overton, who's been injured. He's been off the park, but listen, manfully stood up to the task and just bowled a jaffer with this newish ball, 6th over now for this new ball, and he just bowled a Jaffa at Sir Alistair Cook, and he's played and missed. Great delivery, great heart by Craig Overton.
And not much luck. Not
Well,
much luck.
he and Matt Henry bowled quite nicely this morning.
They did.
That first hour. They could have had a wicket or two. Overton in, good length delivery, which brings Cook forward. He plays with a straight bat back to the bowler, no run. No, they did bowl well. The two openers batted quite well. They played and missed the odd time, played some good shots. I think they felt that you just can't block it on this wicket because you need to make the most of this wicket, as it's quite a good wicket on day one. How it will be like on day 4, we don't know. Overton in, another good delivery, which Cook plays on to the offside, and there is no run.
And welcome to listeners to BBC 5 Sports Extra, joining us here at the Cloud County Ground in Chelmsford, where Essex are grinding out the runs. 322 for 3, Alistair Cook 120 not out, and Matt Critchley, who's not grinding out the runs, he's scoring very rapidly. He's on 93 from just 104 deliveries.
Cook facing Overton. Cook's bat is aloft. This is driven, squares him up just a little bit as he looks to play straight, and ended up forcing it into the offside to mid-off, and there is no run. Well, the start of the day, Anthony, was undoubtedly the toss. Essex won the important toss and batted on this. When we say used wicket, it is simply being used for a T20 and a T20 second team game, and in fact a Sunrisers game. So it's not a fully used wicket, but it's not brand spanking new. Overton in, outside off stump. Sir Alistair shoulders arms, and that concludes the 86th over of this Essex's innings. Critchley creeping up closer to 100. Most of the season he has dropped anchor and been patient, but today Critchley's got 93 in 104 balls. Meanwhile, Alistair Cook has played a Cook-esque role with 120 in 233 deliveries.
That's the voice of Don Topley, who played. What were your years with Essex, Don?
85 to 94.
There you are. Don Topley, and I'm Anthony Gibson from BBC Radio Somerset, and it's been a hard day for Somerset bowlers, fielders, and no doubt supporters as well, as Matt Henry is into Matt Critchley, who plays it back to the bowler. Tractor has been in fine voice from the stand on the far side.
Many here from Taunton?
Yeah, quite a few. And, well, I think I wouldn't say there are all that many up from Taunton, but there are quite a few expat Somerset supporters
in and around London.
Yeah, people who live either in Chelmsford, Essex, or London, who've come up for the game. Henry bowls and Critchley, getting my mats mixed up there. It's a defensive shot into the offside, no run.
Lots of people will be listening in, not necessarily Somerset or Essex fans, but two similar counties on many fronts.
Well,
no, go on, tell me what the fundamental differences are, because I've always thought Essex, Somerset...
You mean as county cricket clubs?
Yeah,
yes,
very similar.
So, yeah,
you know, sizes.
They both punch
ambitions.
above their weight, I think it would be fair to say. This is turned away down to long leg by Critchley just for a single, because Shoaib Bashir will do the fielding. 323 for 3.
Relying on fervent fans. The staffs are probably quite similar. The ground, probably the fundamental difference with the ground is ours hasn't changed from my days, 84, 95. They know the limitations, they know that. It isn't one of the greatest grounds on the circuit, where Somerset's is very pleasant.
Yeah. Henry to Cook, and Cook just tucks this away as so often into the onside, and George Bartlett will do the fielding. It's another single.
When you talk about the housekeeping and things like that, Essex have always been prudent. They've been reluctant to spend money they never had. They probably don't owe too much in debt, But I wouldn't know about Somerset. They've certainly refurbished the ground. They've
Somerset
got various
isn't as well off
pavilions.
as it was a few years ago, but it still turns a profit. But like a lot of county cricket clubs, hit very hard by COVID. This is driven nicely by Critchley, but he won't get it past Josh Davey at mid-off. So, you know, like a lot of the smaller counties, the counties without test grounds, they do have to make a lot of money from non-cricketing activities, if you like the Lionel Richie concert that's on at the county ground in Taunton this very day.
Love to be at that.
Henry's in and bowls, and Critchley won't get a run this time, as Kohler Catmore will do the fielding at mid-on. It's the end of the over. It's 324 for 394 to Critchley, 121 to Sir Alistair Cook, which is his 3rd century of his career against Somerset and his 44th first-class century in all. Did I say 44th? 74th.
74th, isn't it? Yeah. Brilliant record. Just a great cricketer. Somebody that even you, Anthony Gibson, BBC Somerset, would happily have Sir Alistair to bat for your life.
Well, absolutely. And the family come from North Devon.
I wondered.
From South Molton.
Really?
Yeah, I knew his great uncle Albert Cook very, very well. He died just a couple of years ago.
Could he bat?
He was a farmer and one of the best farmers in Devon. And Alistair was at his funeral along with about, I don't know, over 1,000 other people. He was deeply loved, was Albert Cook. And it was Albert's brother. His son was Alistair's father.
Right.
So Albert was Alistair's great uncle.
Right.
And Alistair, of course, is
in farming.
Is very, very keen on farming himself, and
so
that's where he gets it from.
Albert Cook, what would he have farmed? Was that arable or pasture?
No, he was most famous for. He was a beef and sheep farmer fundamentally. I expect years ago he would have had dairy cows, but he was most famous for his Devon close wool sheep. Close wool sheep have huge fleeces on them. They're great big sheep, and Albert was one of the best breeders of Devon close wools in the country, and very distinguished, president of the Devon County Show and all sorts. And it's
well, talking about the Devon County Show, it was the Suffolk Show over the half-term holiday. Always an enjoyable occasion. Bashir back on from the river end, the off-spinner bowls, and this is cut by Cook. It goes out towards the boundary where there is a defender on the boundary, which is on the pavilion side, the large acreage on Sir Alistair Cook's offside field.
Interesting that Bashir is coming on after just 7 overs with the new ball. Just seeing, I think, if he can get a bit of bounce.
Correct.
From
he
the
did earlier. I think he came on, Anthony. I think he came on about the 19th, 20th over this morning, and he did extract a little bit of bounce. Nice tall action. Still wicketless. He's gone for 76. And he's gone for 77 as the ball is played out to deep square leg from the right-handed Critchley. He takes 1 to 95, getting closer to a century. Incidentally, he scored a century on his debut last year here early in the season, having come down from Derbyshire. Cook plays with a full face of the bat, a 4 defensive into the offside, and there is no run. 326 for 3. There are approximately remaining 8 overs, something like that, as Bashir comes in, and this is played by the left-handed Cook into the offside. He opens the face safely.
Well, I think there was a little bit of outside edge there. I think it rather squirted off the edge. It's sort of half a victory for the bowler.
It'd be a big gamble putting a man on the offside for Cook as he comes in bowls. Slightly slower, gives it a little bit of air. It's applauded by Slip. Who's at Slip? Overton?
Yep.
He applauded that delivery that was undoubtedly just given a little bit more air and slightly slower. Being impressed with his control and his varying of pace. This time it's a little bit quicker, but he's playing with the face of the bat. He's safe. There is not a gully. There's no gully or bat pad on the offside. So from a batting point of view, I think Cook is playing that safely. End of the over, 326 for 3.
Yep. It's been a very impressive debut for Shoaib Bashir done for 77 in 27 overs, so he's had a good bowl. I'm going to chat to him at the close of play, all being well.
Is that you've booked your interview?
I will
already,
do shortly. I'm
do
just
you
going to wait and
request
see if...
someone gets a hat trick?
Exactly, I'm going to just wait and see.
Do you request somebody?
Yes, I request someone.
Oh, I get given.
Oh, no. They're very good, Somerset. Almost always I get who I ask for. The exceptions being if the other day, for example, Lewis Gregory was on the treatment table after Somerset had beaten Essex, it was, and I asked for Lewis Gregory, and Jason Kerr said no, he's being
otherwise
looked after.
engaged. Yeah.
And no, it wasn't. It was down at Kent. I got Shane Berger, who's the batting coach. Used to coach Scotland in Monday International.
That's right.
Really, really nice guy from South Africa. Right, we have got a bowling change from the Hayes close end in the shape of Josh Davey, who's in and bowls, and this is turned into the onside by Matt Critchley, but Casey Aldridge is there to do the fielding. But yes, they're very, very helpful, Somerset, and they usually, unless they've had a really appalling day and there's a team meeting called immediately at the close of play, they're usually very prompt as well.
That's good to hear.
Particularly, late at night when a blast game has finished at 10 o'clock at night and you've got the best part of 200 miles to get home.
It's good to hear.
Davies in and bowls. And this is driven up to Tom Kohler-Cadmore, who would normally be at slip, but he's been fielding at mid-on all day and took the first catch of the day to remove Nick Brown, who rather absent-mindedly just chipped an innocuous ball from Josh Davey to Kohler-Cadmore, who took a comfortable catch.
Did all the hard work, didn't he?
He did, and he was looking well set. 33, I think he got.
Yes.
And we were all preparing ourselves for another Nick Brown double century. And this is, I think he just withdrew the bat the last moment there, Matt Critchley, to a ball that was leaving him outside the stump.
I thought this over, and I saw something earlier in the day. He just hurt his ankle as well, Josh Davey. But what I was about to say, Anthony Gibson, for me today, Josh Davies bowled well in patches, but only okay generally.
Yeah.
But I'm going to say something. To me, he looks as if he's falling away a little bit today in his action. Now, whether that's an injury, whether it's the footholds, but either way, he's just falling to the offside.
He's there now and bowls. He's driven away through the offside handsomely by Matt Critchley for 4 runs to take Critchley on to 99, which means that I will hand over to Dom Topley.
Well, will he get 100? When he has hit the ball, it stayed hit because he times it quite effortlessly, but hits it quite powerfully. Does Matt Critchley, 1 away from a century, and at the moment he has faced half as many balls as Sir Alistair Cook. Cook is on 122 off 239, played very nicely indeed, but what an afternoon's knock for Matt Critchley. He's facing Josh Davey on 99. He's clipped it into the leg side, but straight to the fielder at square leg, and he turns down rightly the single.
It was a single there, I think. Although Lammonby's got a good arm, and it was, and they know that. And he would have had a good sight of the stumps at his left-hander, so he'd probably be aiming at the stumps at the batsman's end.
Davey would like to bowl another dot ball.
So Critchley would have been putting Sir Alistair at risk if he'd called his partner through for a single. Quite right, he decided not to.
Slip in a gully, ring on the offside and leg side as Davies in. This is driven back past the bowler. He runs for a quick single. He dives, gets in. It's a good piece of fielding, but it was a good shot and a calculated single. He dives in, gets up, takes bat and helmet aloft to celebrate a century. Well played, Matt Critchley. A remarkable knock, watched by Sir Alistair Cook.
The Somerset fielders are applauding, I trust you note.
Ah, I have noticed, yes, yeah, absolutely. That is able, isn't it? 28.
Yeah, 28. He's the captain. Tom Lammonby's applauding Sean Dixon. Applauding Sean Dixon.
Nice to see. I don't know
Absolutely.
about picking up the ball from the batsman's toes, which is polite, but that is a little bit of class. When I see that from the opposition, that's class. But in the heat of the battle, I'm comfortable with the fielding side picking up the ball. Don't do it for them in the heat of the battle.
Well, the battle is pretty hot out there today, in the sense of the temperatures, not in the sense of any ill feeling between the two sets of players. They're signalling for drinks, I think, now.
Yes.
Although it's rather late in the evening to be. How many overs have we got left? We got. We've had 89, so 7 overs left in the day. So I'm not quite sure what they were signalling for.
No, I don't know what they're doing. But anyway, tonight, Chelmsford. Are you going to get a tan, or are you going to go to...
I'm going to go to...
The only way is Essex in Brentwood, or what are you doing for your entertainment tonight, Mr. Gibson?
Probably, there's a very good pub just around the corner.
Do they good cider?
No, they do. I think they do cider, but I've got to drive back to Braintree. So
is that where you're staying?
Yeah,
Braintree.
But I might have a pint there with Tractor and his mates, assuming that's the pub that they go to. They'll be either there or they'll be at the Ale House, which is near the station here in Chelmsford, which specialises in real ales.
You probably are not aware of this, but Chelmsford has become a city. I know the old football club here.
I did know that.
Well, and Colchester, but Colchester United stays Colchester United. But did you know Chelmsford, the football club here, was always known as Chelmsford City, but it was only made a city in the last couple of years. So
for reasons that not immediately
are obvious. No, just wanted to say.
It's got a cathedral, hasn't it, Chelmsford?
It has, yes.
But I think Guildford always feels very hard done by that Guildford is not a city. That has a cathedral. And it's not
are you campaigning for it?
No, I just...
It's a strange-looking cathedral, isn't it?
It is. A modern, well, relatively modern one, yeah.
Yeah, that's right. But Chelmsford has grown a lot over the years, expanded. Certainly
it's the bowler's footholds that's the cause of the whole...
In Shamford, which may have been what Overton did earlier in the day, and indeed I pointed out Davey might have had an issue.
Grand's men are out there scraping away the loose stuff, and then they'll get out their tamper, I expect. And
that's right.
Thump.
Can I talk about bowler's footholds?
Yeah, of course,
years and years ago. And this is your home advantage. Well, I used to make a big hole, and it was quite close to the batsman's hill because I was quite close to the stumps. And what used to happen is I used to plead with anyone that would listen in the ground staff, could you fill it tonight, not in the morning? Now, there are some groundsmen who only do it in the morning if the away team are bowling, fill it in. And then some groundsmen were happy for a temporary situation to put a bit of concrete in with the night before so it hardens a bit. So it doesn't, they're going to dig it out after the end of the game anyway and fill it up and repair the pitch. But they used to just mix in a little bit of concrete because then the footholds would be hard, which is what a bowler needs. You often find in club cricket they fill them up, make them look quite nice, but the first ball that's bowled on the foothole, it digs out all the stuff, all the guts, and that is a problem because you can hurt your ankles.
You don't see the deep pits now in the creases that bowlers like you and the likes of
Colin Dredge used to make a bit of a hole.
Fred Rumsey, the John Price of
Middlesex Sport, Butch White, yeah. As Bashir comes in to Critchley, Critchley plays a very soft-handed forward defensive, plays it back to the bowler does the fielding, there is no run.
And just going back to a conversation we had earlier on, I think the relative hardness of the pitches these days is partly accounts for the spate of injuries to fast bowlers.
Yes. As Bashir bowls, this is in the air, has he given it away? He's gone over mid-on rather, it's going to be 1 or 2, it's been well fielded by a pair of Somerset fielders. Bartlett, is that Abel down there? Well, no, it's not Abel.
Dixon.
Aldridge. Aldridge.
Oh, it's Aldridge.
He's fielded damn well there, the lad. We can't see it because it's under the river stand balcony. But two good runs and well fielded, the two boys, Bartlett and Aldridge. Yeah, I think you're absolutely right, Mr. Gibson. The wickets back in the day were, well, uncovered and soft as this is driven out to mid
There was a bit more give in the turf when you left foot, if you're a right-hand bowler, came crashing down in the crease. It didn't put such pressure on through your leg and up into your spine and the rest of your body.
As Bashir bowls, this is a little bit leg stumpy. It's tickled round the corner by the right-handed Matt Critchley. He moves to 103 and the score 334. Just staying with that subject, we had a really interesting debate about that, and we also said that I mentioned to you about am I older or younger than you?
Younger.
Okay, so my body is slightly more resilient than the bodies of today. Yes, they can run faster, jump higher, lift heavier weights, but are the bodies as strong as my generation? And was my generation as resilient as John Lever's? I believe they weren't. And the reason being is Bashir bowls into the offside, there is no run. Into the inner circle on the offside, no run. Is because back in your day, when you went to school, you walked to school, you ran to school, you cycled to school.
Walked, yeah.
You played out in the streets forever and a day. I am sure this is cut for 4 by Cook. That's one of the worst deliveries for the day, but certainly the worst delivery since tea for Bashir, who concedes a 4 behind square on the offside. 4 more to Cook, 4 to Essex, 338 for 3. And the reason I say that is today they don't do as much sport as we did, as you did, as Fred Truman did, and secondly the bodies are not as resilient because they don't do the sport, they don't do the walking, the running, the cycling to school. They're taken in the second car by the second car in the family.
But don't you think with professional cricketers, professional fast bowlers, the amount of training that they do, the amount of gym work that they do means that their muscles and their tendons are all, tight.
They're fitter. Are they more resilient?
Yeah. Davies in and bowls, and this is played back to him. I mean, how many times do we hear Fred Truman saying that the best preparation for bowling fast is bowling fast? Fred wouldn't do any gym work, but he'd bowl goodness knows how many overs in the course of a season, with apparently no ill effects.
You never accounted for your speeds back then, and that's quite significant.
Here's Davy and bowls and a swing and a miss from Matt Critchley. Yeah, but I mean Fred Truman was he could be quick. He could get up to 90 miles an hour.
Yep.
And he could bowl all day.
I can speak for the Essex quartet, and during my time, Lever, Foster, Pringle, Topley, Turner, Norbert, Phillip, Hugh Page, etc., etc. Well, how old do you think I am?
Just before.
Just before? Oh, God, and I used to like you. I brought you in rhubarb crumble.
You did. Very good it was too. Here's Davy in and bowls to Critchley, who plays this into the onside. It's well fielded by Kohler Campbell, moving to his right, so it's just a single. 339 for 3. It's the 150 partnership on the board.
Made by my own fair hands, from
nice
my own fair rhubarb, grown in Suffolk.
It's a little bit pinker than the rhubarb that I've got at the moment, but very good it was too.
I didn't know what to cook. Rhubarb crumble.
What variety was it?
Oh, Anthony, the red and green one.
I'm just trying to think what mine is.
Quite productive.
Cambridge something or other.
I've still got a lot. It got lost.
Is Davian and bowls and just turns Cook round a little bit, but no.
Isn't Cambridge the variety of strawberry?
There's a whole different family, that's the word I'm looking for, of Cambridge. Cambridge favourite is a strawberry, but there are Cambridge other things because they're all bred. I'm not sure exactly where in Cambridge, but somewhere in
something's
Cambridge.
eating my strawberries.
Well, I can't grow strawberries because woodlice eat them. We've got
Right.
millions of woodlice.
I think it's...
So I can only grow them in baskets and things. This is turned away by Cook, who sets off quickly for the second run, and I think that is as he disappears out of our sight down there.
Dixon?
No, it's George Bartlett,
Bartlett.
who's still got his fielding pads on, which must inconvenience him a bit when he's sprinting across the outfield. 2 more runs are taken, 3-3-9 for 3. We're in the 91st over, so Somerset have got 5 more overs to endure, and at least the sun has gone behind a cloud. Peel for LBW and out, and that is the end of Sir Alistair Cook. A ball that didn't bounce perhaps as much as he was expecting. He played forward at it, and it did just enough to come back, beat his inside edge into his pad, and Nigel Long had no hesitation in raising the finger, but a tremendous innings from Sir Alistair Cook. 126 he has made from 243 deliveries, and we'll just listen to the reception as he walks back, raising his bat to the pavilion.
Bat is aloft. He's approaching the boundary, and the picket gate, as the incoming batsman crosses with him on the boundary. Sir Alistair Cook, 128. What a great day's work for the legend that is Sir Alistair Cook.
And how pleased and relieved the Somerset fielders will feel to have seen the back of him, so that they won't have to try and get him out first thing tomorrow morning.
Ben Allison is coming to the wicket. I'm suggesting that he's not batting at 6, so he has padded up as the conventional night watchman. What a great job that is.
Well, you say that, but he averages 31 in his 8 first-class games.
Yeah, I've seen him. Yeah, I've seen every one of those 50s, but I just don't know if he's going to be in front of. Let me just have a look who else is in the team. I just can't believe he's 6. He might be 8.
Feroz Kushi.
Feroz Kushi, yeah, he's night watchman, honestly. But this would change the face of this game if you were really greedy, Anthony Gibson, and Somerset nipped 2 out in the remaining overs of the evening.
I'm not sure it would change the...
Still a good deck.
It is. But I still find it quite hard to envisage Somerset bowling Essex out for less than about 450.
Bashir bowls. This is played into the leg side by Critchley, who takes a single off the first ball of this over, and it brings the night watchman Ben Allison. Went to school round here, Newhall, played cricket at, I think he's played cricket at both Brentwood and Colchester, Essex in the Premier League along with Brentwood, but very tall man again, certainly wants to be thought of as an all-rounder. As you said, he's played and made 3 50s in his brief career. Bashir bowls, this time smothers the ball into the offside against the spin. There is no run. 342 for 4. Just a few overs left. The sun has sort of gone down towards the pavilion, getting a little lower. This is forced into the leg side off the back foot. A man at 45 stops the single. I should imagine with the emotion that Bashir is a little tired now. He'll be even tireder after doing an interview with Anthony Gibson, as Bashir forces, he opts to play on the back foot. There is no run.
But I'm not exactly going to cross-examine him, but what a terrible performance that was by Somerset. Just interested in his reflections on his first day in first-class cricket.
He's looked the part. Bit quicker, cut, good shot. Good shots, picked up the length quickly, did Ben Allison, and he's cut it down to the shorter boundary at third man, where the retirement flats are for his first scoring shot. A good boundary, 346 for 4.
Yeah, nice shot. Authentic late cut, really.
You don't see that often, do you?
No, you don't see it very often these days. You see versions of it in 20-over cricket, but they usually involve deliberate edges.
Bashir gives it a bit of air. He's driven back to the bowler on his follow-through. Concludes the over. Ben Allison has 4. Matt Critchley 105 in Essex's total of 346 for 4.
Yeah, Essex have gone along at a good striking rate of 3.7 runs and over, which means that they have moved the game on. So if Somerset can bowl them out, I don't know, before lunch tomorrow, let us say, Somerset will still have plenty of time to put runs on the board themselves.
I don't think Essex will think about declaring. I think you will have to bowl them out.
Yeah, yeah. Well, it's going to be
first innings runs again.
Yeah, I mean, it's looking very much like the game here last year between these two sides, when Essex made 500 in the first innings and Somerset replied with 600.
Poor old Jamie Overton's fielding beneath us.
Here's Davey in a bowls, and this is played firmly back up the pitch.
Sorry, Craig Overton.
Yeah.
Let me tell you, he was definitely limping as he was jogging down to us.
Well, it may just be the tendon. I say just the tendonitis. Tendonitis is.
He did yelp when it happened.
Yeah.
He did really yelp. You heard it from the crease.
Davey, who is in his 16th over, picked up 2 wickets, including the prize wicket of Sir Alistair Cook. So that's played back to him by Matt Critchley. 15.2 overs now, 2 for 71. He's gone at 4.6, but that's an improvement. This morning he was going at 5-6 runs and over. He looked distinctly rusty. He has been playing 20-over cricket, played against Gloucester on Friday night, but he's been troubled by hamstring issues as well. He's in now, bowls to Critchley, who comes forward. He's playing for the close, I think, now, Matt Critchley, 105 to his name, and he's been the one who has really, well, mustn't never discount Alistair Cook's efforts, but it's Matt Critchley who's provided the acceleration that has got their run rate up from below 3 to not far from 4. And if Essex have ambitions, as I'm sure they have, to win this match, then the faster they score their runs, the longer they'll have to bowl Somerset out twice, as that's defended by Matt Critchley up to Kohler Cadmore.
But Bazball hasn't reached Essex yet.
It's reached Somerset in the shape of Tom Kohler Cadmore.
Well, he's got a reputation.
He has, but he has consciously become more aggressive since Brendan McCullum and Ben Stokes have instituted that policy for England. I know that because he told me. I mean, he's always been a very fine striker of the ball. He got 100 against Somerset for Yorkshire last season, but it's nothing like the way he's playing this season, where he's really taking the bowlers on. As Josh Davey is in and Overton's come into the gully, and that's driven and it eludes George Bartlett, and there's nothing that Matt Henry can do to prevent it going for 4 through extra cover. And it's no good Josh Davey standing there looking aggrieved with his hands on his hips. It was a half volley outside the off stump, and it was beautifully dispatched by Matt Critchley.
If we saw a scoring circle of Critchley's runs, I think quite a lot of the boundaries have either come through mid-wicket or indeed through on the offside. He's looked good as a driving on the offside all day, really, or all afternoon, perhaps is a better way of describing it.
Here comes Davey looping in again from the Hayes Close end, and this is driven away again, but this time almost straight to Matt Henry and not at full power. So it's a dot ball. That's the end of the 93rd over, so 3 overs remain in the day, and it's 350 on the board. So a third batting point for Essex, Somerset, with just the one bowling point, needing another 2 wickets to get their second.
So Lionel Richie is tonight?
Tonight.
Is it? How
Yeah.
fantastic. If you're listening, getting yourselves ready to dance on the ceiling, or say me. There's various renditions, and we hope you have a great
That
evening.
awful sloppy song called Hello.
Yes.
Is it
It's me you're looking for?
Oh.
Yeah, absolutely, yes. We all danced to that, didn't we, Anthony?
No, I was married by that time.
Could give the thrill of your life to your wife, dancing with her in the evening. As it's Aldridge comes in and going down the leg side. He's gone for a caught behind, a strangulation, but David Milnes is just not interested and declares it not out. PGA Tour. As can you say anything? No. As Casey Aldridge is on his way in, away from us, that is played into the leg side by Ben Allison, sensibly, smartly. He's got his reputation to consider, so he wants to stay here, look smart, sensible, and come out with Matt Critchley in the morning. That would be what his designs are. Gosh, when I did Night Watchman, I used to be so excited. Could never sleep the night. I was so looking forward to batting in the morning with Gooch or Border or Malik or someone. This time, Casey Aldridge bowls nice and straight, where it's just blocked by the Night Watchman. Yes, no. Great days. Listen, I don't think any bowler who does the Night Watchman doesn't enjoy it.
Jack Leach loves it, and
Yeah.
he's so good at it as well.
Yes, absolutely. It's a lovely responsibility. Aldridge bowls. Ball that carries. We're in the 13th, 14th over of this new ball, so well bowled.
I fancy Casey Aldridge is just putting a little bit more into it today than he has. He's been criticised, not least by me, for just sort of putting it there, not bowling as fast as he's capable of bowling. But I think today,
yes,
he has been putting his back into. He's really been bending his back.
Good. Well, that's good to hear. Good to see that he's doing it, because you get rewards. Bouncer, big bouncer against Ben Allison. It goes over his head. Signalled one for the over. It would have been
directed, but quick.
It would have been a wide in white ball cricket.
Oh yeah.
But no, intentions are good. I like it.
Yeah.
As a
If you're
fast bowler,
you've got to bowl fast.
You've got to, yeah. That's what I mean about, the batsman picking the ball up. I know many coaches who bellow in the middle of a second 11 outfield, don't pick it up, it's theirs. As it bowls another decent ball
The
through.
polite thing to do if you're the batsman is, and the ball is at your feet, is
Yes.
to ask the fielder, the nearest fielder, is it
Yes.
okay if I pick it up?
Or don't ask them.
Or don't ask it.
Yeah, it's
but
a
if
bit-
you're being polite,
Yes.
then you would ask them.
Colin Cowdrey was so polite in Australia, wasn't he? When he introduced himself to Jeff Thompson and said, "Hello, Mr. Thompson, we haven't
we've
met." You,
I think that's apocryphal.
you
I
don't
honestly can't
do
believe
that today. It's fiercely contested. It's theatre out
I
there.
don't
You
think
don't
it
do
is
it.
as fiercely contested as it used to be, because they play so much together for different franchises.
Yeah,
they're all
there
good
is that.
mates.
But when you cross the boundary line, they're the opposition. Over the boundary line, they can be your mates. I used to be very friendly with Andy Moles and Jason Ratcliffe.
Yeah, or Jason Ratcliffe, yeah.
Out there, I
Well,
wanted to get one over
I
on.
still don't think there is the edge, in the really sort of nasty edge that sometimes has been in the past. This is Davey bowling to Critchley on a full length, Interesting that Craig Overton's just swapped places with Tom Abel, gone up into the slips because he's hobbling.
You've invited me to have a glass of your cider, your homemade cider one day. If we're playing shove halfpenny, there will be edge. There will be edge.
I'm not. We do.
If we play tiddlywinks,
I've
there
got
will
a
be
shove
edge.
halfpenny set, but it's in Portugal.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, and I was never as good at it as my brother, so I didn't play it very often because I wasn't as good as him. There's Davy in a bowls to Critchley, who drives that up to Tom Kohler Cadmore.
I don't think I was ever overly nice to Reese, even when we were competing.
Well,
Do you know what I mean? You encourage him, you tease him.
It was like Peter Siddle, who's, he's a real ocker, is Peter Siddle, and he was quoted the other day about the Hampshire game, and what good fun it would be playing against his good mate Ben McDermott. My good mate. It's, and they do play so much together for different sides. Here's Davy in bowls, and Critchley is watchfully forward. And I don't think, I'm not saying that's a bad thing. I just don't think there isn't the bad behaviour, particularly in Test cricket, that we used to see a few years ago. And I think that's a good thing. And I think the advent of, again, Brendan McCullum and Ben Stokes has got something to do with that as well, because they play the game in the right spirit. And because they play it in the right spirit, it encourages other sides, like the Australians classically, who've always been the worst behaved in the field over the years, also to play the game in the right spirit. This is driven nicely by Critchley, and it's missed by George Bartlett, but Henry is there to back up. I think the trends in Test cricket are all for the good at the moment, but I do think the county game could learn from that and just be a little bit more exciting. I mean, the crowd here have had a good day today, great day, 350 for 4. They've seen two centurions. They've seen some good bowling from Matt Henry, genuine fast bowling, and Craig Overton. But for every day like this, as Davy is in and bowls and Critchley turns this away for a single, for every day like this, you get the 275 for 6. And they don't even get the 96 overs in because you get bad lights.
That's just wrong.
It's just not good entertainment, I don't think, for the crowd. And the 4-day game needs to entertain. Otherwise, it'll give those people on the ECB who aren't very keen on county cricket every excuse for reducing the number of 4-day games. So I hope that the spirit of, I don't like calling it baseball, but you know what I mean, that
So
sort of attacking spirit,
yes,
where you play the game to enjoy it and don't worry too much about the outcome.
No, I'm
I
not
hope
knocking
that
that.
filters right down through cricket.
So we used to have the spirit of cricket with a Cowdrey lecture. Now we've got the spirit of baseball.
Well, I think baseball's fairly...
Baseball, sorry.
Baseball, yeah. That's a defensive shot into the offside. It's Christopher Martin Jenkins is the spirit of cricket next year, isn't it? Which, spirit of cricket became almost an oxymoron because the spirit, cricket was played in sort of rather a sour way, and there was cheating going on, ball tampering and all the rest of it, bad behaviour, sledging. It was bringing the phrase the spirit of cricket into disrepute. Whereas I think Ben Stokes and Brendan McCullum have got the right idea about what the spirit of cricket means. End of lecture.
It's going to be interesting with the Ashes. It really is. Very much so. It's going to be Aldridge, who has 13 and a half overs because we had an injury to Craig Overton. He's bowled 13.3 overs, 1 for 69, I think it is. Just to go through the bowling figures for the day during this, this is the last over of the day, I believe, with Essex on 351 for 4. The time is 13 minutes past 6. If you're on your way home, you're listening to BBC Essex, BBC Radio Somerset on ball-by-ball commentary for the final embers of today's day 1. Casey Aldridge moving in away from us, passing umpire David Milnes, and he bowls this time to Critchley. Critchley plays on the front foot into the offside. There is no run. Slip in a gully, ring on the offside, ring on the leg side. Perhaps mid-wicket is in catching. And the sun has gone behind the clouds now, quite high clouds.
It's a blessed relief, actually.
Temperature's just about right now, isn't it? Guess what I'm going to be doing when I get home tonight? Aldridge bowls us a bouncer. It's not a top edge. It's going to sail away for 4 behind square for 4 runs to the long boundary on the pavilion side. Good shot there from Critchley. He goes to 114. Essex 355 for 4. Any guesses? Daylight
Gardening.
today?
Gardening?
Nearly watering.
Ah, yeah.
Yeah, who's doing your watering while you're away?
My wife Claire.
Well, don't take any shortcuts, Claire.
Sure she won't.
As Aldridge is on his way in to Critchley. He bowls, and this is cut out to backward point, who goes straight through his legs for 4. That's
Shoaib Bashir, I'm afraid.
that's his worst moment. He's had some great moments in his first-class debut. That's not one he'll be proud of.
No, I think he was just... He seemed to get in a good position. But I think he was just done by the bounce off one of those net pitches.
Aldridge in, bowls into the leg side. They take the 1 as square leg is now back on the boundary. Gives Essex and Critchley a free run. Brings Allison on to strike. Bowling figures for the day. Anthony Henry, 17 overs, 0 for 75. He's bowled better than that, actually, to be fair, better than his figures suggest. Craig Overton, 17.5 before he got injured, and he's bowled 1 for 36. Miserly, bowled nicely most of the day. Well done,
Without
Craig
much luck.
and Matt Henry.
Without much luck.
Aldridge, as we know, is bowling. Davies, 16 overs, 2 for 75. For me, a little bit mixed. Some good overs, and possibly some not so good overs. Aldridge bowls outside off stump. Allison leaves it alone, and Bashir one over shy of 30, and he's gone for 89. He's bowled nicely on his debut. He needs a wicket. That will give him a huge boost of confidence, and he might have to wait though until the morning.
I think he will. But yes, he has bowled nicely, and it must have been a great experience for him as well.
Bowling at Cook.
Bowling at...
He looked the part, to be honest. In comes Aldridge through to the keeper. End of the over, and indeed end of day 1 here at the Cloud County Ground, Chelmsford, where Essex won the toss earlier in the day, and they've made it to 360 for 4, and thanks largely to Sir Alistair Cook, who batted patiently for a fine 128, but special mention to Matt Critchley, who is not out 119, and he scored those runs in 139 balls. So it's been very much Essex's day. That's not to say Somerset can't come roaring back into this tomorrow by bowling well and then batting well when they eventually bowl Essex out. So from Anthony Gibson, Dick Davies and myself, thank you all for listening in, and we look forward to welcoming you back tomorrow at 5 to 11 for day 2 in this rather scrumptious Essex versus Somerset 4-day clash. Good night all.